Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Assorted Duties. I am your host, Arthur Reynolds, and today's episode will be primarily me venting, starting with where I work at. I work at an all male institution, and I've been there for over 20 years. I enjoy my job, and I get to pretty much have a platform when I go to work. I get to I get to console people, and I get to hear their side of situations that are going on. We get to actually have that open dialect with each other when I get there, and that's with staff as well as inmates. While I'm there, when I come inside the institution, my outside issues have nothing to do with inside the institution, as well as vice versa. When I leave the job at the job, and I don't bring the job home with me. Now, my viewpoints on how I see things outside the job, now that's about the only thing that go in and out with me because it's just the way I see things. And that doesn't change whether I'm in the prison or I'm outside the prison. But when I go to work, I talk to all shades of people. It doesn't matter whether you're white, black, brown. It doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter whether you are straight or you belong to the LBGTQ. Those are irrelevant to me. What I do care about is when I'm talking to inmates about entering society when they are being paroled. I work in reception. Reception is the location where all inmates coming into the institution or leaving the institution come through my location. So if they're coming in to my institution, they come in no matter what agencies bringing you in, they bring you in through reception. And no matter what agency's picking you up, when you're leaving the institution, and it doesn't matter how you're leaving the institution, whether you're paroling out or something other than that, you will leave through reception. So knowing that, I see all type of characters when they come into the institutions, from the county, from other states, from the federal prison, from a halfway house. So they all come back through the institution, through the reception center. And so I get to see all of this when they come in. So my attitude doesn't change regardless of who you are. I try to talk to people in a respectful manner because that's exactly what I want in return. I have this saying at work: you get what you give. If you give me shit, I'm going to reciprocate that and give you that same attitude and energy in return. So if you want to talk to me with respect, I'm going to give you that same energy and talk to you with respect. So that being said, this is how I carry my day. And I don't hold on to things long. We can have argument or whatever have you with disagreements. And you might not like what I'm saying. I might not like what you're saying. But one of the biggest things I do know is it doesn't last long. And this is for staff as well as the inmates. If we disagree about something, it's okay. We know that there is a line that need not be crossed. And as long as we're not doing it intentionally, it may happen again. as well. I mean, with bumping heads. When you're working with somebody 8 hours a day for over 20 years, it's bound to rub somebody the wrong way. You're bound to clash on disagreements. It's just that we're older. We don't need to result in unnecessary attitudes that could turn around and have us both lose our jobs. It's not that serious. We got far much invested in this here career of ours, or at least I know I do, to want to turn around and lose it behind an idiotic moment that we've had. And that's exactly how I see it. It was a moment. And I could turn around and truly forget about it like it never happened. We just move on. In that same process, we have with the inmates. I don't differ with staff or the inmates when it comes to stuff like that. Bring me the energy you want me to bring to you. And when I call you on your BS, accept that shit and move on. Or be accountable for what they did. Accountability is big with me. Your actions will speak a lot louder than your words will. But at the same time, as an inmate, you have to understand that you do still have rules that apply, even inside the institution. A lot of the inmates that I come across in the institution still want to live in the streets. They still want to act like, even though they're in jail, they're still in the streets. So they want to still continue doing little slick shit that causes them to get in trouble. But then when me, a black man, brings it to your attention or catches you with it, doing the things you shouldn't be doing, and I turn around and you get penalized for it by getting written up, I'm all kind of names. I'm an Uncle Tom. I'm a house nigga. I'm all these little slang slurs that you want to throw at me, and it's not really my fault that you can't seem to stop living in the streets or living in those type of lifestyles where you think you can continuously be slick. I don't like it. You don't like me catching you. You don't like me holding you accountable for the shit you did. But when I do, I'm a bunch of names. Own up to your shit, man up to it, and then live with it, the consequences when you got caught. So, not everyone is guilty, and I do know how the system can be. But I do know that a lot of our choices is what causes the situation to be unfair. You choose to live in a situation where you're not in a position to make a difference in society. So the changes don't happen because you're not putting yourself in a position to make a change. You want to sit and complain about it, but you're not going to do anything about it. But you're going to perpetuate the negatives by doing negative and giving them all the reasons to say, see, this is why. I always talk to the inmates. I try to use that platform that I have to talk to the inmates, especially when they're leaving and they're paroling out. And there's some things I say that are sarcastic, and I don't know if you would agree or disagree. I really don't care whether you do or you don't, but I'm going to share with you some of the things that I say to some of the inmates when they're leaving the institution. One of the things I say to them is, it's your choice. You have nothing but choices when you leave there. So you choose to go whichever way you want to. The second thing I tell them, and this is the part where I'm very sarcastic, but I hope you can get it when you hear me say this. Don't listen to parole. Parole don't know what they're talking about. Don't listen to the judges. The judges don't have a clue on what they're talking about. I want you to fuck up. I want you to come back to jail because they don't know shit. So go ahead, come back to jail. Because without you, there is no me. You complete me. You allow me to provide for me and any and everything else I need to provide for. So come back to jail so I can have job security. So I don't care what they talk about in society. They're crazy. I just need you to come back to jail so I can have a job. So see it how you want to. Now they may look at me and they know I don't say it to be malicious. I say it to be real. I say it so that you truly understand what I am saying to you about how society is looking at you. Now, if you could take it to I'm being smart and like brush it off and act like, yeah, whatever. That's your choice. I don't care because I gave it to you as straight as I could. Know that they don't care about you. And if you're going to continuously go down that road, then you're just going to keep me in a job. The third thing I say to them is, well, if you come back, then there was nothing about jail that you didn't like. So apparently you're telling me everything in this prison that you were subjected to, you enjoyed, you had zero problems within this institution. There was nothing that deterred you from wanting to come back to this prison. So I also say, what is it you want to do? You know what I mean? Because in jail, you have nothing but time to think about all the good things and all the positive things. And I am not knocking you for those positive things and good things that you sit back and talk to people, parole, your cellie, the counselors, the unit managers, me, and other COs, and yourself. It's not that you don't mean what you're saying when you tell us, I'm not coming back. Because in your heart and mind, you literally mean that. But what you fail to realize is reality is different than what your illusions are. You can picture and imagine all of these things sincerely in your heart that you want to accomplish and do right by, as far as your children, yourself, your wife or girlfriend, whomever is holding you down, or your parents or parent, however that may go. You have all these things that you are sincere about, and you have the truest intentions to want to carry these things out. But you cross that threshold when you get out, everything just changes. Like all these choices you have are now what's in front of you. And all the decisions you had when you were in jail aren't the choices you want to make when you get out. You have a tendency to want to think you have to be cool or keep a certain image or live a certain lifestyle for other people to continuously respect you when they weren't the ones doing the bid with you. And even if they were, they're not the ones that's going to go back to jail with you. You're going back to jail. You have a different line you have to walk when you're now on that parole, or even when you max out your time. You're still, under that same scrutiny. So you have to make a decision, how I'm going to take advantage of the choices that I have and have these choices that I make be for the better of my life, for my life, and one of the things I also tell people is, if I'm not right, I can't do right for you. But so you got to get yourself right. And getting yourself right is one of the best things you can do in order to get everything else to fall in place. In jail, some Some people's family feel better knowing you're in jail because you're safer in jail because of the hell you cause in the street. And they were afraid that you're going to get killed or get one of them killed behind your attitude and the way that you were living your life recklessly in the streets. But you can't see that. You really force people's hands to show you that tough love. Like, no, you can't call my house this time when you go to jail. I'm not accepting your calls. I'm not writing you. And no, you're not using my home as a home plan. You're going to need to go to a halfway house and figure it out from the halfway house to do what you need to do. You're not coming here. So some people fell on them kind of hard times with their family, dealing with their family. And this is just some of the things we deal with. You know, me as a correction officer, I'm also a counselor. You know what I mean? I'm also a motivator. You know, I am a parent, an uncle. You know, I could be whatever it is you need me to be, male-wise, to help you better your time. But I'm going to give it to you straight. Don't expect me to sugarcoat stuff. You know, I'm not that person that's going to allow you to think that I'm going to accept your negative attitude, the way you're carrying yourself, the way you're thinking about things. In my experience, I also know that there are people who don't realize when you come to jail, if you come to jail at any age, it's a time warp. Time has changed. You now have to grow up immediately. Coming to jail, you now have to be a man. But it's a different kind of being a man. It is a in prison growing up. And then you do your time. Let's say you do 5 years in jail. So now you're 22 to 35. And you're now coming back out. And 17 to 22, you missed that. Let's go to the bar on your 21st birthday. Let's go ahead and get drunk. Let's get lit. Let's have fun. Let's ride across town. Let's go ahead and do this and let's do that. You know what I mean? And all have fun. You missed that. You can't step back out of prison thinking you're 17 again, because this is what happens. People step back out of jail thinking that they're still 17 and that they can still recapture that 17 program and try to run off of that, and you're 22 years old. People see you differently. And times has changed in those 5 years you did. Or 10. Or 15. You can't get that back. So you want to step back out in that 17-year-old shadow, because while you're in jail, and this is how you know that you're not trying to get past where you were at. And that's why you're in jail. You're still living vicariously through the eyes of other people coming into jail that you know from that same neighborhood, to see how the neighborhood is doing. And you want to reminisce on what's current that they're coming in with to what you remember when you went to jail. And you think you know what's going on out there because they're filling you in the gaps that you missed. But reality, again, like I said previously, is a total different thing. For you to live through their eyes isn't the same to live through your own. So you have to wake up and realize there's a lot of things that has changed in society, and you haven't, because you went to jail and got stuck at that time period when you went to jail, and when you came back out, you're picking back up where you left off, so you think. So you have to really understand that going to jail isn't all. A lot of guys think that, and this is something I also believe, that people think that going to jail is almost like a rite of passage. It's their way of saying that they are now men. our young black men think that this is a rite of passage to become a man. You know, oh yeah, I just did a bid upstate. By having that kind of jailhouse lingo to speak upon in the streets, as if street cred is your way of signifying you are now a man because you went upstate. That don't make you a man. I'm sorry. I'd hate to bust your bubble, but that does not. There's nothing in that scenario that even equates to you even being a man. It makes you a fool. You know what I mean? When you think by going to jail is, cool, that makes you a fool. So, but anyway, I just wanted to vent. I wanted to get some of that off my shoulders because I see too much of this in our black community for sure. But I see this in society in its entirety. It's not just black. It's just not white. It is not just Puerto Ricans or Asians of any kind. This is a society issue. Unfortunately, as black and brown men, we are subjected to it more frequently than any other nationality. But we have to put ourselves in better positions. We need to start putting the right people in office, and we have to start paying attention to what they're saying in their legislation campaigning. And that is just some of the trickery that goes on within our political game. So please, if this is something that someone could benefit from hearing, or it matches a conversation that you may have been having, please share this, and hopefully it helps within your argument. My name is Arthur Reynolds, and I am your host of Assorted Duties. Thank you, and until next time.